Welcome back to 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse. And I fucked up for the whole Black History Month. I fucked up. I admit it. I forgot someone who is paramount to the Grindhouse culture, and that was actor Steve James. And Steve James was not only an actor in films like, his first major role was Jefferson in Exterminator, which was basically shot on 42nd Street. The thing with Steve was a huge fan of these movies. And like me, spent a lot of time on 42nd Street watching movies. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, before he died, he had subscribed to Rick Sullivan's The Gore Gazette because I think Rick had mentioned something about having talked to him or something like that. He exploded in the 80s. He was in He Knows You're Alone, that weird little musical Times Square, The Soldier, William Lustig's Vigilante, The Brother from Another Planet. He was in American Ninja in 1985, and also was in American Ninja 2 and 3. To Live and Die in L.A., The Delta Force, POW The Escape, The Hero and the Terror. A vehicle that he wrote and starred in was something called Street Hunter. He was also in Blood Fist 4, and his last film was Mantis for TV in 1994, which sadly aired after his death in 1993 at age 41. Steve had pancreatic cancer, and unfortunately it ended his life. But like I said, I feel bad about it because I didn't want a lot of guys to slip through the cracks. And here's a guy who basically not only went to the movies on 42nd Street, became a fixture on the marquees and in the movies on 42nd Street. So right now I'm going to honor Steve James because he's a man who deserves some honor and a man who was taken away from us way too young. So that's going to end the Black History thing. People ask me, as I wheeled and dealed in porn for, God, almost fucking 5 decades now. I get more than 5 decades. What am I saying? I started selling this shit when I was 16 years old, the loops and stuff. And, the whole thing with doing anything, if you're going to be a success, you shouldn't be into your product. That's why, people who deal drugs and, get into their product fuck up. Well, the whole thing was that, I was exposed to this crap at an early age because we didn't have any sex education back then. So whatever I could sneak out of my father's little drawer, which was basically nudie loops and stuff like that, and then when I started selling the stuff, when I was like 16, 17 years old, along with the 8-track tapes, we'd watch them all and then rewind them and sell them. So by probably the late 70s, I was not emotionally involved with this stuff anymore. I just saw it as a way to make money. And I sort of had an knack for selling this stuff. And, one of the first rules of selling porn is no credit. You don't front somebody a loop or a tape because you will get it back and they will say it was fucked up and didn't work or something like that and you'll never get paid. Well, when you're running a store like I was running the store, past Midnight Video in Rockaway, I had the back room with a window where you could pay out of, and that solved a lot of problems. But you would always get the fuckers who were trying to get over on you, trying to return shit after they watched it and get a free peep. Well, I had a couple of these. One instance was a guy brought back a tape and told me there was nothing on it and hands me the tape. And he goes in the back to get something else. Well, it's a clamshell box. I open it up and I notice that the tape hasn't been rewound. And I looked in the back and I said, hey, if you're going to fuck me, at least rewind the tape. He goes, whatever do you mean? I said, I'm going to rewind this thing. And I said, if there's something on this thing, you're not getting an exchange. And he goes, well, what if I didn't like it? I said, I didn't like my chicken that I bought at ShopRite last night, but I didn't go back and puke it up all over the counter. Now, did I? I said, no, you're not getting a refund. You're not getting an exchange. You don't watch the shit for nothing. Well, that was one. Another one was that some guy went in the back and came out and he goes, I got a problem with what you're doing. I said, what's that? He goes, why do you have gay and transsexual porn back there? I says, because people want it. And he goes, well, honestly, I don't feel, I feel a little creeped out by seeing that back there. I said, well, then you have an option. You don't have to shop here. You can go up to the porn place on Route 10 in Morris Plains and pay $29.95 for what I'm selling for $12. And he looked at me and he goes, you're not going to do anything about that? I said, I have customers. I have gay customers. I have people that like transgendered stuff. I have people that like bondage stuff. I said, I'm catering to an audience of everyone, not just you. Now you can leave and don't come back. But, no. I gave you your out. You wanted to be a prick about it. Now I don't have to serve you. Leave. Don't come back. And he didn't, because I wouldn't put up with this shit. And like I said, you put up with a certain amount of crap there. One night I lost track of something, and I wanted to close up, and the guy, you've probably seen the picture, Freddie in the wheelchair, told me, he goes, there's a guy in the back. Well, I go in, there's not only a guy in the back, he's got about 5 tapes laid out on the floor, and he's pleasuring himself under his coat. I'm like, pick that shit up and get out of here. Oh, I scared the shit out of me. He picks up the stuff, he walks. I said, you're paying for the shit. He hands me 3 tapes and he hands me a $50 bill. I put it in the bag and give it to him. And he goes, where's my change? I said, in your hand. Leave now. That's the only time that ever happened where somebody actually got that fucking stupid in public in my place. Another one was that, I'll say it, I don't really give a shit. There was a tape that they were selling. It was a 2-hour compilation, and it was called 1001 Cum Shots. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, people bought the stupid thing. I had one guy try to return it, and I said, what's your problem? And he goes, it isn't what it says it is. I said, how so? And he goes, there isn't 1001. I said, well, now I got the attention of everybody hanging out in my store, because they know I'm not going to do anything with this guy. I said, well, how many were you short? And he goes, I don't remember. I said, my God, man, if I can't take a return on this. I have to know what's going on so I can send it back to the company and alert them that there's a serious problem with their product. So how many were there? He goes, I don't remember. I said, well, take this thing home and rewatch it. Tell me how many there were. And he left. He slunk out. Everybody's like cracking up. They said, I can't believe you did that. I said, fuck this guy. He watched it. He wants a freebie. He ain't going to get it. Needless to say, he didn't come back either. So the weirdest one was Liquidators. And there was a bunch of shit going on there, but this one was like fucking really out there. This guy came in one day, I hate to use this, but he was a stereotypical gay guy with a high voice, and I'm looking to buy some dildos and whatever. And I'm like, okay, so we gave a price on a dozen of these things, the standard, 12-inch vibrator. And he leaves. Well, next week he comes back with one in a plastic food bag, covered with some kind of lube, and he walks up to the kid, the Mexican kid that you saw the picture of, and the look of horror on this kid's face was priceless. This thing doesn't work. I have to show you. I said, you don't have to show me shit. I said, there's a garbage can over there. Drop it in there, I'll give you another one. But no, I said, no, you take that out of the bag, you're not going to get nothing. Throw it in the fucking garbage over there, now I'll give you another one. But aren't you interested? I'm not interested at all. Here's another one, leave. The last thing I'm going to do is touch something that fucking creepy and disgusting. So there was like I said, there was always guys trying to get over. The biggest one was, okay, there's nothing on this tape. Then the whole thing was they didn't think I would put the tape in because there was people in the store. Fuck that, I put it in anyway. I said, well, you can see there's something on the tape, so why are you trying to fuck me? So like I said, a lot of this shit went with the territory. A lot of times you had to be a psychologist, but most of the times you had to think one step ahead of these guys, because a lot of these guys, after I weeded them out, they never came back because they knew they couldn't get over on me, and odds are they tried it in the more expensive place up in Morris Plains and got booted out of the store. I had one guy, I threw him out. He sent his mother in with a note of movies he wanted. And I looked at Freddie and I says, you know something, this is really bad. Let me wrap this shit up and give it to him and just get her out of here, because this is fucking embarrassing. So that's I could probably come up with a ton of weird stories like that, but it's the end of the week. It's getting cold again. One good thing that happened this week, and people were concerned about my health, and I appreciate it, and a shout out to Lorena out there and some other people, new subscribers and stuff. I had the colonoscopy. They didn't find anything. They did a biopsy. They didn't find anything. I got an appointment to see them again to discuss, things in the future, because, like I said, I'm old. Not that I enjoy having a hose shoved up my ass, but if I got to do this once every couple of years to make sure there's nothing growing in my ass, I'll do it. So on that happy visual note, thanks for all the new subscribers for tuning in. Thanks for all the old subscribers for hanging in for this shit. And have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the flip side.